Yeah. Where's the cat, though? Lloyd? You knew it'd be me. Hey, Ellie. How'd you know it was me? That's what I want to know. Just a hunch. I don't know why, but I have a feeling you'd come here. Guess you were right. Breathtaking as always. Isn't that the IBC in the distance? Yes, it is. I doubt you would find a cityscape as beautiful as Crossbells, even if you scour the entire continent. Yet, the more the lights of the city shine, the more the stars seem to dim. The purity of starlight, the symbol of Aidios' love. Ellie, I was thinking over everything that happened today. With Rivace, Heiyu, and Dudley. No matter what you do, you can't change Crossbell's true nature. Rivace's iron grip is here to stay. Not unless I kill them all. I am merely referring to them as our fellow business competitors. Here in Crossbell, free trade is protected by law, after all. Do you take offense with that, officers? We are charged with maintaining a certain degree of order in the city where justice is a constant uphill battle. We are expected to suppress major crimes and protect the public from criminal organizations and foreign intelligence agencies. Can you possibly fathom the work that goes into that? I mean, you're failing, so not much. That was the darkness of this city, the tragic truth of the state of Crossbell. We are kept alive only by the will of the Empire and the Republic, stripped of all pride and fed constant lies and deception. We're drowning in false prosperity and novelties only because our captors allow it. Everyone just surrenders to these circumstances and accepts the status quo without realizing its true cost. That's the city we live in. Maybe you're right. But you don't want to surrender just yet, do you, Ellie? I once had a mother and father. Oh, I suppose putting it like that makes it sound like they've passed away. They're still very much alive. What I mean to say is, they divorced when I was little. My mother lives in the Empire now, and my father in the Republic. I had no idea. My father was born and raised in the Republic. He moved to Crossbell City, met my mother, and after marrying into the McDowell family, he strove to become a politician. Immediately after he joined the Diet, he recognized Crossbell's ugly, distorted reality. As someone with a strong sense of justice, he made it his duty to mend this broken city. Yet, year after year, he drafted reform bills all in the hopes of bringing change to the state. It's amazing. No. In the end, none of his bills were ever passed. The Imperial and Republican factions both shunned him, ridiculed him. One by one, his allies betrayed him. Friends left him, and he became the laughingstock of the political world. Not even my grandfather, as well respected as he is for being neutral, was able to mend his career. Crossbell brought my father to utter despair. And then one day he quit, as a Diet member, as a husband, and as my father. He decided to leave everything behind for Calvard. Mother couldn't stop it. And at the same time, she couldn't uproot me, still a small child, to follow him all the way there. Eventually, they settled on a divorce, and my father was gone for good. It always seemed like Mother hated him for what he did, but I got the impression that underneath it all, she still loved him. It soon became apparent that living in Crossbell, the state that robbed her of her love, would be too much to bear. My mother left to go live with relatives in Erebonia. It was then that I was taken in by grandfather, who raised me into the person I am today. Bro, if she was gonna do that, your mother should have just left with him for Calvard in the first place. If she was still just going to abandon her child to her grandfather. To the child's grandfather. That was the reason I was drawn to following him down the path of politics. It wasn't due to any desire to avenge my father or anything like that. I just couldn't understand it. How could a family so happy and loving end up falling apart so completely? After I made my decision, grandfather began to help me. I studied abroad, all over the continent, focusing on politics and economics. However, the more I studied, the more I realized how complicated of a quagmire Crossbell's situation truly was. Caught between the Empire and the Republic, our justice, our interests are pulled apart by the gravity of their immense power, entangled with their own and distorted beyond all recognition. It was there I hit a wall, an insurmountable barrier in my way. Barrier. The same one my father faced, and what I'm sure my grandfather faces as well. Do you know who represents the government of Crossbell State, Lloyd? Isn't it Mayor McDowell? Well, yes, but he's not the only one. It's actually both the Crossbell City Mayor and the Speaker of the Diet. Grandfather and the Imperial Faction Speaker, Hartman, jointly represent our government. That's how we operate, according to state law. Sounds like I should have studied more. How are you in the police without understanding how basic politics work in the city you were born in? Interesting. But wait, why did Crossbell adopt such a divided system in the first place? It's obvious, isn't it? If two representatives from opposite factions have equal authority, they can hinder things for each other, making political reform nearly impossible. So we were set up to fail from the beginning. Awesome. No way. But now that you mention it, it does make sense. With two people on top, one side can easily sabotage the other if they try to push some sort of reform through. The fact that this happens is a tragic inevitability given Crossbell's founding. 70 years ago, Crossbell State was born from a mutual agreement between Erebonia and Calvard. In fact, the state's founders were themselves Imperial and Republican lawyers. Seeing the current state of Crossbell, I can't help but think of it as a curse. It was a loss. I was at a loss. If I were to continue into the world of politics, that same curse would grab me by the neck and drag me under, just like my father. That's why I decided on a new approach, one my family hadn't yet tried. And that was the CPD? Yes, from there I told myself I could see Crossbell's twisted reality firsthand without looking through the muddled lens of politics. I convinced myself that the experiences I gained here would one day be my secret weapon when I finally joined Crossbell's political world. It sounds like this city-state needs a revolution or a civil war or something other than what it has going for it right now. The reform that my father failed to achieve and grandfather is unable to pursue, I thought this new perspective would be the key to finally making it a reality. Maybe? But perhaps I was just lying to myself. Perhaps I was just running away. Everything that happened today, I knew it was likely I'd encounter those issues. But still, the reality of things was even colder and crueler than I had imagined. When confronted with it, I was at a loss. Maybe I'm incapable of doing anything on my own after all. Maybe I'm just a broken little girl abandoned by her mother and father. So what? You try way too hard to be perfect, Ellie. I can't afford to fail. I need to take care of everything myself. Shoulder every responsibility. That's the way you've been thinking, isn't it? That's not... Today was probably our roughest day yet, being ridiculed, having to hear that all of our efforts are in vain. But think about it. Aren't those the things we signed up for when we joined the SSS? Remember, Ellie, there may be barriers we can't get over today, but that doesn't mean we won't be able to get over them tomorrow. Tomorrow. Right now, the barrier that stands before us is the threat letter case. And even though the First Division has taken it over, I say we continue investigating independently from them. On the sly. What? But is there even anything else we can do at this point? Sure, the First Division may be great, air quotes, at what they do. But even so, it's obvious that they're stuck in a cop's mindset, only adhering to traditional logic. Maybe a new perspective is exactly what's needed to crack this case. They wouldn't even have a case if it weren't for us, because no one wants to go to them. At least that's how I feel about things. Lloyd. Just like how you joined the CPD to gain a new perspective on Crossbell, right? If we're somehow able to solve this case, then I'm sure that means your goal isn't out of reach either. Of course, I shouldn't really compare our investigation to Crossbell's underlying issues, but what we need right now is the experience of overcoming these kinds of obstacles. If we keep clearing the small barriers one by one, then someday we'll have the power to get over the big ones too. In these 2 months we've been together, I've come to realize something. You have your own troubles you're working to overcome, don't you? So how are you able to stay so optimistic? Well, let's see. Maybe it's because I have someone I'm trying to catch up to. Though that in itself may be a problem. I think I understand. But I'm not as strong as you are. I'm just so tired of it all. I didn't come up here with the intention of talking so much about my past, but I just couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. At this rate, I'm only going to drag the team down. Ellie, it is time for you to throw caution to the wind and let loose. Let's just go. Let's just do it. And if that's the case, I should probably... Ellie. We need you, Ellie. Your profound knowledge, your negotiation skills, your sharp shooting, your sense of justice, your ability to use the craft holy bullet. If we are going to stand up to this city, we're going to need you. But that's not it, though. Well, all of that's true. The point is this. I'd be happy if you decided to stay by my side, Ellie. Oh? What? We were a bit of a mess at the start, but I feel like we've really started to become a team over the past 2 months. Even when we're bombarded with the stress of daily life, we make time for the small things, like deciding whose turn it is to cook. We've all come to trust in everyone's individual strengths. It's not every day you find teammates like that. Well, we may still be rookies, sure. It's too early for us to be able to tackle every problem by ourselves, but it's also too early for us to give in and despair and give up trying to fix things. We'll tackle each and every day head on, do whatever we can, and keep relentlessly confronting the status quo. And if that somehow fails, we'll just come up with a new plan. Together. Power of friendship. You, me, Randy, Tio. And despite the way he acts, the chief is always doing everything he can to support us from the side. Hey, you are forgetting the doggo. Do not leave Zeit out of this. Ha, there you go. Even Zeit has our backs now. You'd better include the wolf. So don't forget, Ellie, you're not alone. Zeit is the most important part of this team. You're absolutely right. I'm not alone. How could I have forgotten something so important? Thank you, Lloyd. Even though it won't be easy to solve all of my problems, I do feel a little better now. Glad to hear it. Still. Apart from the lines that sounded like they came straight out of a teen drama, I was a bit surprised. Hit him where it hurts, Ellie. I'm painfully aware of how cheesy they were, okay? But what do you mean by surprised, Ellie? Because, well... talking about how I'm needed and telling me that you want me by your side, I thought you were confessing your love to me. I thought the same thing. Confessing. steps backward immediately. Wait, that's not what I meant at all. You even placed your hand on her shoulder? Physical contact, sir. Oh? So are you saying I'm not good enough then? Yeah, you're not Elia. You know that's not it. Come on, you're just teasing me now, aren't you? Just a little payback? But you really should be more careful, Lloyd. You might not realize you're doing it, but you really have the potential to be a serious womanizer. Hold on a second. I'd understand if you were talking about Randy, but why me? The fact that you don't even know you're doing it makes it all the worse. Good grief, Lloyd. I can't believe just hearing those words made my heart start beating so fast. I feel like that's supposed to say beating. We're moving on. What was that? Nothing. Anyway, I'm sorry I wasn't there when you reported to the chief. Did you guys come up with a plan for how to continue our investigation? No, not yet. Right now, the case hinges on figuring out what Yin hopes to accomplish. Tomorrow, we can ask around and see if we can find some sort of lead. Sounds good. Thanks to you, I have a feeling that I'll be sleeping soundly tonight. How about we hold a meeting tomorrow morning, after we get some much-needed rest? Sounds like a plan. Lloyd and Ellie learned Star Blast. What the heck is that? By spending 100 CP each, a powerful combination attack, ooh, can be unleashed. That sounds fancy. I hope it hits more than one target. That concludes this week's report. The warhounds they've trained may prove troublesome. If Master Yin were available, he would easily compensate for our lack of force. Very well. We shall continue with all our current operating protocols within the city. In addition, recall half of our personnel currently dispatched to Altair. Understood? I shall take my leave, Master Cal. Have a pleasant evening. Yes, yes. To you as well. How troublesome. I'd rather not have to request the Elder's assistance. Such help would come with a heavy debt. If only Master Yin were more cooperative, our plans would be proceeding splendidly. That voice sounded familiar, but I can't quite place it because I haven't been able to listen in depth to all the characters' voice acting. Worry not, I plan to uphold my end of the bargain. Are his shoes blue and white? Is Wazy the assassin? Or is it just a coincidence that his shoes are blue and white? What the heck? It shouldn't surprise me that you were eavesdropping. Dear me, I fear I may have made a few slips of the tongue. Please, we both know you said exactly as much as you wanted me to hear. Just as cunning as ever. Me? Oh goodness, no, I'm no match for you. So to what do I owe this visit? Are you perhaps in the mood to cull some warhounds for us? Your subordinates are more than capable enough to handle that matter. My role is to take care of Rivache's main force, beginning with that man, Garcia. That was what you hired me for, was it not? Oh dear, you truly are no fun. It's come to my attention that you've become entangled with Archon Ciel for some odd reason. I'll have you know the CPD is quite good at their jobs, so don't do anything that will bring us trouble. Do I make myself clear? No need to worry. More importantly, what is your impression of the Special Support Section? Oh, so that's what you've come here for. Let's see. They are an intriguing combination of young people. Their leader, Lloyd, most of all. He's perfectly aware of his weakness, yet he continues to push forward with determination. He seems to have a strong intuition as well. To be honest, I quite like people like him. I was not asking you about your tastes. What about the other members? Again, each of them proves to be quite intriguing in their own way. Mayor McDowell's granddaughter possesses a keen sense of diplomacy and operates as the team's administrator. As for the girl from the Epstein Foundation, with her orbital staff itself, while her orbital staff itself is fascinating, I suspect she has some special qualities of her own. Lastly, we have our red-headed fellow. He has a certain air about him, one not dissimilar to our own. Intriguing indeed. I must ask, why have you taken such great interest in them? I simply wish to put them to a little test. I was curious to find out if they were worthy of taking on a request from Yin. Ooh,